Hey everyone, Shane here with etrailer.com. Today I have a 2011 Kodiak travel trailer. I'm going to walk through how to install the Solera Slide Topper. I think this is one of the most important things to put on your camper when you first get it, or if you don't have one on it already. When I bought my camper, that's the first thing I did. Top of that box, if it doesn't have a cover on it, you go out camping. Say you go camping somewhere that's got a lot of trees. Leaves and stuff, all the trees, sticks, and they sit up on top of that box. You have to get up and clean it off each time. If you don't clean it off, it could rain, those leaves will mat down. You go to roll the box in, the whole top side of that box goes inside the camper. Well, get mold and mildew. Where's all that mold and mildew gonna sit? It's gonna sit inside the camper. You park it for the winter, you go to get in it in the spring, take it back out camping again. Now you could potentially be causing allergy issues for yourself or your family or whoever else you have in there. Having the awning is going to cover the top of that box. One, you don't have to clean it off each time. Two, it's going to prevent any mold and mildew from being created up there, because it's going to prevent anything from sitting up there. Three, when it rains, all that water is going to run off. It's not going to sit up on top, so you're not going to potentially get any inside when you roll your box in. A couple other great benefits to having a slide topper. One, when it rains, it's going to be a lot quieter because now the rain is hitting the top of the fabric instead of the top of the box. Two, it's going to keep the inside much cooler because now you've shaded the whole top side of that box. The fabric is a very durable vinyl fabric. It's going to hold up really well in all weather conditions. These are going to come in different lengths and in black or white, depending on what your camper has, so you have options there. As far as the installation process, it's going to be the same no matter what size slide topper you have or what size box you have. It is going to take a couple extra people to help get it slid into the extrusion rail. It's going to come with everything necessary except butyl tape. Butyl tape is one thing the kit's not going to come with. You are going to need it. You can find it here at eTrailer. The important part, it's how to measure to get the correct size slide topper for your box. You're going to measure from one edge, outside edge here, to the other edge. You're going to put it in our fit guide, and you're going to pick the length you need. Now there's exceptions to that. Let's say we have another slide box over here. You need 14 inches from here to that edge of that other box. If you don't have 14 inches, you're gonna have to go down one size on one of the awnings. Let's say you have a slide box on the opposite side where your door is, and you have an awning. The awning rail that is mounted on the wall. If you have an awning rail and you have a slide box close to it, you need 7 inches from this outside edge to that awning rail. If you don't have 7 inches, you're gonna have to go down a size. If you have an awning like this. This camper is not quite big enough to have another slide on this side, but let's say this camper was a little bit longer, you had a slide box here for your room. From the edge of that slide box to the edge of your awning rail, you need to have 7 inches. If you don't have 7 inches, you're gonna have to go down one size for your slide topper. Now that we've gone over some of the features, let me walk you through how to get it installed. First thing you need to do is check to see if you're going to need this rail. It's going to come in your tube with your roller or with your kit. It's going to have a groove in it here that the bead for your slide topper slides into to hold it up against the wall. Some campers come with them, some of them don't. So you need to look up on your sidewall above your slide topper or slide to see if it's just a gutter or if it's a gutter that has this slot in it. If it doesn't, you're going to have to install this rail, which we're going to do right now. So we need to measure from the top edge of here, no less than 4.5 inches, no more than 7.5 inches. I'm going to go about 5 inches up. I'm going to put a couple marks along the way, along the top edge down. Then I'm going to take a straight edge and then give me a straight line. That way, when I go to put that rail up, it's straight and level across the top. Take this rail and these brackets, and on the back side of each, we're going to take butyl tape. We need to cover these holes. Butyl tape does not come with your kit. The wide stuff works great for these brackets. The skinnier stuff works good for these. Doesn't mean you can't use wide on here, you're just going to have extra that you may have to cut off. Next, with an extra set of hands, we're going to get our rail lined up with the line we drew on the wall. I'm putting the bead side down on the line. You can flip it over and do the screws on the bottom if you want. The beetle tape will hold it on the wall while we install our screws. Screws we're going to be using in the kit, they're going to be the square head or button head square bit self tappers. You want to make sure you're not using the ones that are flat, because those are for a different piece that we're going to be putting on here in a little bit. We'll just take a screw and we'll put it in each one of the holes that are in that rail. Now we're going to take this bracket, peel off your paper on the back side of your beetle tape. You want this flat edge, so there's two edges, one's kind of beveled, this is flat. We want that to go up. So we're going to go all the way up and then all the way over as far as we can go. We'll rotate it down, stick it to the wall just like that, and we're going to be using the flat ones. The next thing we're going to do before we install our awning, we'll get our awning in place. Doesn't matter which end you do it on. I'm going to do it on this end because we got more room towards the front of the camper. One end of the rail, you need to take that corner, top and bottom corner, and we're going to bend them up like this, so that when we slide our bead in there, those corners don't catch on the fabric and tear it. On your roller, on the end, you're going to see this bracket on the inside, it's got a hole in it. You're going to take this bracket, the hole, you're going to line those two up. You're going to take this large Phillips self-tapper, and that's what's going to hold those two pieces together. You're going to do the same thing on the opposite end. So take your fabric and unroll it just one time. You're going to have an extra set of hands. We're going to slide our bead into this rail. Then we're going to take this bracket. On this back side, you're going to see 4 slots. The top 2, this one and this one, are going to be to raise it. These 2 are if you want to lower it, to give it a little bit more pitch. I'm going to put it in the lowest 2, and then we'll check it to make sure our fabric is not touching the top of our T-molding. And if it's not, we can leave it that way. We'll slide it on the end of this rod, and we'll slide that bracket right on the bracket we mount onto the wall. We'll do that on each end. There's a little bitty Allen head screw. You're going to have 4 of them that have some thread lock on them. Those are going to be inserted into one of these, or to 2 of these 4 holes. Depending on which slots you use will depend on which 2 holes you use. We use the top 2 slots to give us more pitch, so we're going to put it in the top 2 holes, or put them in the top 2 holes. And all these do is keep this bracket from sliding on the bracket we have mounted to the wall. We'll do that same thing on the opposite end. You're going to get 4 self-tappers like this. You're going to take a 5/16 bit, and those are actually going to go here to keep this bracket from sliding inside of these 2. Before you do that, you want to make sure that you're even across your slide out. So we have about the same amount of fabric sticking out past the edge of our slide out on both ends. So now we can go ahead and put those in. we're going to have this clip at each end of the roller. When you take these out, I suggest keeping them in case you have to do any maintenance on this or anything, which you shouldn't. But if you do, you can roll it and stick that pin back in, and it keeps the spring inside the tube from loosening up. So we'll grab it, twist it, take the tension off of it, and we'll slide that pin out. Now you're still going to have tension on it until you take the other one out. When you take the other one out, be careful and don't just let it go, because it's going to roll up real fast. Once you take your clips out of each end of the roller, go ahead and slide your box in and out a couple times. Look for any wrinkles, and we'll adjust from there. So now we need to make some adjustments in our extrusion rail, where the fabric is going to the railing that we put on the wall up at the top. You'll notice the wrinkles in it. The ones that are going straight up, we don't need to worry about those. That's the fabric itself, and that once the heat hits it, those will straighten out. The ones you need to look for are the ones that are going in an angle like that. That means the fabric is pulling too much that way. So what we're going to do is we're going to roll it out until that disappears. We're going to take that corner and we're just going to push it in just a little bit to take that tension off of it. We'll roll it back in and see if those disappear. Once you get it smoothed out where you're happy, take the little screw that comes in your kit on this top of this rail, about 1.5 inches in. We're going to drive it down through the metal and through the bead that's holding the fabric in place. I would be careful because this edge is rounded, and if you push down too hard and that thing slips off, you're going to screw right into the fabric itself outside of that bead, and we don't want to do that. And what this is going to do is keep that bead from moving inside that rail. You'll have one of these for each end. Then we're going to have a cap that's going to go over the top of here. To be honest with you, out of everything installing this, these got to be the most difficult things to put on. I will suggest if you use a soft blow hammer like this, put a paper towel on it, because it will leave marks on the camper. Once you get one installed, you're going to repeat the process for any other slide topper you're installing, and you're ready to go. It's going to do it for a look at an installation of the Solera Slide Topper on a 2011 Kodiak travel trailer.